Okay, let me tell you about something that happened between my wife and me the other day, and this is not the first time it happened, so I feel like it's time I tell you more about a little part of my life and some conversations I had with my wife, and let's call it the very first episode of a new series called Writers Be Crazy. Yeah, according to my wife, writers are crazy people, like authors, like me, are nuts, and she's obviously right, but the reasons why she thinks so are pretty interesting. So let me tell you about the last iterance of her thoughts regarding authors. This is how it goes. Just a bit of context first. Among writers, I'm what is called a plotter. So writers tend to fall into two categories, plotters and pantsers. Plotters, like me, like to outline their stories. We work the story to the bone before we start writing. So, and I really like doing that. I will write an outline, I will do the research, and I will work the characters. So I will define the characters, choose their names, give them personalities, background stories, and I will also define the relationship between the characters. So do they like each other? Do they, hate each other? Or maybe they are indifferent, whatever, and usually it does make sense by the time my outline is over. The relationships between the characters are pretty set, as well as all their backstories and personalities and so on. So now I am doing the work, but the characters don't give a shit about what I prepared for them. So I will start the first draft of the manuscript, and within a matter of 1 or 2 chapters, maybe even faster sometimes, they go on a tangent. They just veer off the path that I had traced for them, those little punks. So characters decide randomly, to change my plan and to define themselves differently from what I had in mind. Right, let me give you an example. In the novel I'm currently writing, there are 2 samurai, and in the outline, those 2 samurai, they were, respectful to each other, fairly indifferent, and that's it. But one of them decided, you know what, I don't like that guy. So one of the let's say the second samurai decided he couldn't stand the first one, and I'm like, all right, sure, if you say so. Don't know why, but let's go with the flow. And it turns out he was right. This second samurai was right to hate the first one. It made sense, according to the backstory, that this second samurai made me write about him. Again, that wasn't part of the plan, but that's what happened, and it's awesome. So I told this to my wife. I was like, yeah, this guy, he decided to change my plan for him, and then he decided he didn't like the first one, but I realized, okay, that's a very good idea. Then my wife looked at me something like, and said that authors are crazy. Maybe it's just me, by the way. So if you're a writer, does it happen to you? Do your characters, randomly decide to do whatever the fuck they want? Basically, they are like kids, like you raise them, you give them life, and then they just don't want to do what you ask them to. Now, the absolutely madness of this situation with characters that you invent doing whatever they want, the hell they want, is that they are usually right. They always land on their feet. This is not the first time it happened to me. Many times over as I wrote my books, that basically I decided to trust my characters, and they turned out to know more than me about my own book and about where it was going. So this is actually the advice I give to any writer or people who are working on their first draft. They are writers, but writers without a manuscript. My advice is usually trust your characters. They know where they want to go better than you. Now I get the point my wife was making. It sounds crazy when you are like creating something willingly, knowingly, you know where this is going, but you are trying to tell someone who is not a writer that, those little punks do exactly what they want and not what you wanted. I should check if there is some kind of schizophrenic idea associated to this, like a part of my personality, like branched out of my mind to create those characters and let them do the work on the side, unbeknownst to me, and then came back and they led me astray and made me realize they are more intelligent than me. Maybe I shouldn't make videos about authors being crazy. I should just go see a shrink. What do you think? That's it. I guess there are going to be plenty of occasions for me to let you know why authors be crazy. I stopped in the middle of a sentence there. Yeah, I think my wife is right.